Some of the footpaths featured in this video are permissive footpaths, so might be closed at certain times of the year. Also check access and egress to certain footpaths because they may be closed due to fallen trees. Okay, so it's just gone 6:15 in the morning and I'm heading out on a little walk. And I make a series of these little videos of my walks around my hometown, village, sorry, of Coshiston. And yeah, little walks alongside the river, through the woods, lanes, footpaths. I'll narrate as I go, but hopefully keep them relatively short, but just show you the beautiful surroundings that I've got around here. So I've just left a place called Lane Head Cosheston, and I'm heading down what is locally known as the Camp Lane towards the Folly, and from there we're going to follow a footpath which goes alongside the River Cleddau through a lot of woodland, and then we'll tie in on another footpath. But as I say, yeah, off we go. And at the end of the video I'll post a little map of my Strava. I think that's the easiest thing, and that shows the walking route should anybody feel the need to come and follow it, because as I say, lovely little place to live. And here we go. Okay, if you look there closely, you have the moon. I'll swing it around here. That in the distance is the Preseli Mountains. And let me just move around the corner here. And given the time that it is in the morning, that, oh, focus on your son. That is the sunrise we have today. Okay, so we're about half a mile from where I started. We're about to start to drop down towards the river. In the far distance there you can see the Valera oil refinery. That is the storage tanks over at Waterston on the north of the Cleddau. That's the Cleddau Bridge itself which connects it all. And we're about to drop down this lane and into the woods. And just like that, we have the River Cleddau. I think, if I'm right in saying, it's coming in. So later on in the walk, I got two routes that I can go on: a high tide and a low tide. Hopefully I'll be able to make the low tide still so we can get close to the river. Opposite me there is Rudder's Boatyard over in Burton, and you can see that field is prepped for spud ground. It's a south facing field, so that one is going to be growing your Pembrokeshire early potatoes. And just down here, about to go into the woods, there's a little cottage there right on the corner of the river in the woods called Folly Cottage. I think you can Airbnb it, but what a cracking place to stay. Okay, we're a little over a mile into the walk now, and now this is where the Cleddau is kissing the woods. So we'll slowly mosey on through here. You can see the sun starting to break through. You're going to see in a minute what I think is one of the best views in Pembrokeshire. Okay, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the view. On the left hand side there is the north shore of the Cleddau, and that is, if it'll focus in, Benton Castle there in the distance. Far distance, that's the Preseli Hills. That headland there is Loreni, and then on the right hand side is the shoreline coming from Coshiston heading down towards Jenkins Point, or what's known as Cosh Ferry in the village. Okay, if you can hear me over the sound of the running water, beautiful as it is, we've approached a little inlet called Mill Bay. If you carry on that path there, it takes you up the valley and ends up taking you back to the approach road approximately half a mile from Lane Head. But we're going to keep on going left-handed, and we're going to head towards Cosh Ferry. Okay, this is the view from Mill Bay, and has to be said, one of my favourites. Lovely little fishing spot down here. I've been here some evenings and I've been watching kingfishers during the summertime work in the water down here. And an interesting little fact, this inlet, before it got silted up too much, used to be the boat, well, where the boat was stored for the local country house. You can see the remnants of some pilings here. If you look hard, there's the remnants of the track and the wheels that they used to launch and retrieve the boat. A couple of little ruins down here. These were poor men's cottages down this end of the world. It'd be worth a fortune if you could live down here now, but yeah, beautiful. Okay, my watch hadn't long pinged. I've just done 2 miles. We come to another fork in the path. If you were to follow the path right-handed and go back up underneath the hedge line there, takes you to a little cottage called Bay Cottage. From there you can access the public highway. All roads lead back to Cosh. We're going to head straight on. That takes you out onto the driveway of a property called Four Ashes, and we're going to go down through a couple more private houses. I won't do too much photography there. I think they're all second homes that are all Airbnb'd out. And then I think I've got enough room on the foreshore. We're going to take the low tide route down to Cosh Ferry. Okay, I've come through the properties. As I thought, there is some family staying there. So just a little quick one. That stone building there is now called Shipwrights. Always locally been known as the Chemicals, because back in the early 1900s they converted oil to naphtha there. So it's the Chemicals. Right, here we are, fork in the path. You can take that path up there, is the high water mark. Takes you up behind the alley, which is a row of houses and a couple of other houses, takes you down to Cosh Ferry. But we're going to go down this one here, set of steps that will take us down onto the foreshore. Okay, I'm on the foreshore now, and this is what I've got. That's the woods that I've come through. This is the Cleddau. That's the north side of the Cleddau there, that's Burton, etc. A place called Roos Ferry over there. There we are, just about to zoom in, there's a little slip over there. And down that way is where the Cleddau heads towards Haverfordwest. Okay, so I'll film here so I don't blind the camera. As I say, that's Roos Ferry opposite here, and we're now at the point where the Cleddau splits. Obviously that way down there is the Cleddau Bridge. Straight up the river is where the Cleddau heads on towards Coshiston Bridge or Haverfordwest, and this way down here the Cleddau goes down, and that splits to the Carew and Creswell rivers. Now what you can see there in front of me is Llanelli Quay and Yacht Station. The woods around Llanelli, and in the far distance, if my phone will do it, there's a little group of trees there, and in the middle of those set of trees is a house called Coed Canlas, and that is where the author and jockey Dick Francis was born and raised, and you access that from the Llanelli side. Okay, just stood on the top of the slip next to Ferry House here on Cosh Ferry, and that there across the garden is the high water footpath access. So yeah, you are allowed to walk across that if there's a high tide. No one can stop you. Footpath was here before the house. Okay, we're starting to climb the hill out from Cosh Ferry, and we are now heading up towards a place called Mount Pleasant Cross. Here's, let me turn the camera, lovely example of a lime kiln. Many of these scattered around Pembrokeshire, and quite a few on my walks that I'll probably come across in upcoming videos. Okay, we're at Mount Pleasant Cross. I'll try not to blind the camera by the sun. It's rising quickly. We're going to head straight over the crossroads, and probably in about a couple hundred yards there's a stile on the right hand side, and we are going to go over that stile and head out across the farmland of Southlands, heading for Upton Castle. Okay, just thought I'd stop here again. Some cracking views. Little house in the distance there is Mount Pleasant Cross, where I crossed the crossroads. I'm stood up in the middle of farmland now at the minute. Look at that, Preseli Hills. Absolutely beautiful. Like, if I keep on swinging it around, blinded by the sun. Over here, if the camera will focus, that is Upton Farm, and that is where I'm heading for. Okay, so we've come up across the farmland from Southlands. It's pretty easy to keep to the path. It's fenced inside one field, and then it's just got little markers on the others. Follow it up and you end up coming to this kissing gate. We're heading out across this field towards Upton Farm. Bit of common sense for those of you who've got dogs with you. Keep them on the leads, and say there's lots of ewes and lambs about at the minute, all over the place, so a little bit of common sense. You don't want any unfortunate accidents happening here. Okay, another beautiful view here. I'll try and zoom in to see if you can see it. The white wall that you can see there in the far distance is literally all that's left of Lane Castle. Had to be knocked down, I think it was due to monies owed, etc., just after the war. Absolutely beautiful house that sits on a piece of land where you look up the Carew and Creswell rivers. Let's say all that you can see there now is the white wall from the plateau where it was built, and then down below it is Lane village itself. And then we are, you got the Preselis in the background. In my immediate foreground, I've got a lot of ovine friends. Slight little detour from the public footpath. I've just come through the farmyard here at Upton, and this is the view off the top down to the Carew River. And if I can zoom in far enough, I don't know if you can make it out there, but Carew Castle is there in the distance. Okay, so I've just come through the farmyard at Upton, and I'm going down the long access road here now, and we'll be heading towards the gatehouse down for Upton Castle. Okay, the public footpath will actually take you out across the farmland here, but I'm going to stick to the roadway. That way I'll be able to show you, well, it's actually called the lodge, not the gatehouse, it's the lodge for Upton Castle. Beautiful little building with the stone walls for the gates. Okay, that is Upton Castle Lodge. I've just come through those gates and I'm heading now down to the 3 cross to turn back to the village. Okay, we're coming to the end of the access lane from Upton Castle and Upton Farm. If you take a left here, that takes you down towards Milton and away to Carew, but we are going right, and that will take us back into the village of Coshiston. Okay, so just getting to the outskirts of Cosh now. This is a little park known as Mayeston. If you do go across the fields from Upton Farm, this is where you come out in the stile onto the road. So we're just on the outskirts of Cosh. Okay, that is the War Memorial and Funeral Cart tenement in Coshiston. Funeral cart was paid for by public donations back, I think it was the late 1800s, early 1900s. A little bit further on is the old village milk stand. Tried to make a little feature of it. That was where all of the milk from the small farms in the village came and got dropped off and collected for distribution. Okay, we're coming to the cross now. Bit more activity on the roads, and we're going to hang a right and head up the hill back to Lane Head. Okay, we're nearly back at Lane Head now. We're just passing Cosh Village Hall. Ample parking in there should you require to park up. And so it's literally 50 to 100 yards at the top here, and that is my circular walk complete. Okay, I've just got back to the house. That's the end of my my walk. Lane Head, down round Upton, etc., back to Lane Head. The walk is about 5 3/4 miles roughly, and moving time, give and take, I don't know, anywhere between 1 hour 45, 1 hour 50 minutes, something like that. I haven't pushed the pace too quick. There's a couple of little hills up and down, but I mean, you walk at your own pace. So again, I'll post my a still of my Strava just to give an overview of it for the map, etc. But yeah, if you want to do the walk, it's a lovely little walk.